Damon, or True Friendship by G. E. Lessing. Translated from the German by Ernest Bell. Dramatis Personae.
The Widow, read by JennPratt.
Leander, a Suitor, read by Adrian Stevens.
Damon, a Suitor, read by Jim Locke.
Oronte, cousin to Damon, read by Alan Mapstone.
Lisette,
Maid to the Widow,
read by Michele Eaton.
Stage directions, read by Kelly Taylor. Damon, or True Friendship, a comedy in one act. Scene 1. The Widow. Lisette.
Well, it is true, our house has altered a great deal in a short time. Only a week ago it was a lively rendezvous for innumerable young gentlemen and love-sick fools. Every day some of them have dropped off. One day these stayed away, the next day those, and others the day after. God be thanked, 2 are still left. If they too should find their way off, our house will be deserted. Madame, Madame.
Well, what is the matter?
Then I too should certainly remain no longer with you, however well off I may be. Society is the half of life.
You would have been better fitted for an inn than for my service, then?
True, in an inn it is lively at any rate. If there was not so much work there, who knows what I might not have done? If one is unfortunate enough to be a servant at all, I think it is most sensible to have a place where one can have the greatest pleasure with one's work. But joking apart, what are Herr Damon and Herr Leander to you at present?
What are they?
This question seems strange to you. I know well enough what they were to you before. They were your suitors.
And so they are still.
So they are still. Really? Damon is then Leander's rival, and Leander Damon's. And yet Leander and Damon are the best of friends. That is a new fashion. Against that I protest with might and main. What? Rivals who do not quarrel with each other, and slander, abuse, deceive, challenge, and fight each other, nice creatures they would be. No, the old way is right. Between rivals there must be enmity, or they are no rivals.
It is true. I myself have been rather astonished at their behaviour. No one behaved more affectionately towards me than they did before either of them knew that they had one and the same aim. No one was more tender, no one endeavoured more to gain my favour than they. No sooner did they perceive that one was the rival of the other than both relaxed in their zeal to please me. Each spoke in favour of the other, Damon of Leander and Leander of Damon. Both were silent about their own affairs.
And in spite of this, you still consider both of them your suitors?
Yes, I am thoroughly convinced that both love me. Both love me sincerely. Damon only appears to me too vacillating, and Leander a little too impetuous.
I should almost like to ask you something.
Very well, let me hear it.
But will you answer me candidly?
Shall I answer you candidly? I do not see what should make me give you a false answer. If your question does not please me, I should prefer not to answer you at all.
You believe that you are loved by both, and perhaps rightly, but which of them, then, do you love?
Which?
Yes.
Which? The question is curious. I love them both.
Well, that is good. Will you marry them both too?
You confuse matters. We were speaking, at present, of loving, not of marrying. All suitors that I have had have been either vain, love-sick poltroons or low-minded, egoistic creatures. What have I not had to endure from both sorts? Only Damon and Leander differed from them from the very beginning. I perceived this difference with the greatest pleasure. And I also think that I have given them to understand plainly enough how well I knew how to make a distinction with them. I have given their discharge to all who were not wise enough to take it themselves. I have only kept those two here, and I still see them with pleasure in my house.
But what is to come of it?
I will wait and see. If I cannot become the best beloved of both, I can become the friend of both, I suppose. Yes, truly, friendship appears to be now much more charming than love. I must ascribe this to the example of my tender lovers.
What? Friendship? Friendship more charming than love? Dry friendship? Don't talk so philosophically, pray. I assure you I believe only as much of it as I like. Your heart thinks quite differently, and it would not do it much honour either if it did agree with the lips. Just let me try whether I understand its mute language. I hear it. Yes, yes, it speaks. What? Are these sincere lovers? What new kind of love is this, which the sight of a friend can stifle? Neither of them will run the risk of losing his friend for my sake. Oh, the undeserving creatures! I will hate them, yes, I will. But shall I then be able to do so? Shall I?
Silence, silence, Lisette. You understand its mute language very badly.
Oh, pardon me. This interruption proves to me that I understand it very well. Well, how can it be otherwise? I should be very vexed if friendship played me such a trick. Just consider what else but friendship is to blame. That you are now without a suitor at all, when you might have two of them. Ah, it would be a shame if love were not stronger than friendship.
Alas!
Ha ha, that I understand too. Just listen if I can't explain it cleverly. It says this, does it not? Lisette, do not force me further to confess to you what you already know. Would to heaven that love were stronger than friendship only in one of them. If you can do anything towards making my lovers more sensitive and less conscientious.
What wanderings are these?
Oh, I beg your pardon. They are your own wanderings.
Suppose now I confess to you that I would prefer to see them both reveal their love to me more openly, both strive tenderly to conquer my heart, the one try to take the precedence of the other, to see even the favours which I should bestow upon one in greater degree estrange them a little, to be able even to have the pleasure of reuniting them in order to separate them anew. Suppose, I say, I confess this to you. What then?
Well, certainly, it would be rather more than you were willing to confess a little while ago.
But really, I do not know at all what reason I have to give account of my heart to you.
I agree with you. You have none. You do it from mere kindness. But your kindness shall not have been in vain, I assure you. I will do my utmost to make all happen as you wish. But just tell me first for which one do you think you would like best to declare yourself? For Damon or Leander? You hesitate. Listen, a good idea occurs to me. You know that a year ago each embarked almost the whole of his fortune on a particular ship which traffics with the East Indies. They are in daily expectation of the return of their ships. How would it be if we too waited, and then declared ourselves for the one who has been most fortunate in this transaction?
I am willing, only...
Here comes Herr Damon. Just leave me alone with him. I will sift him.
Scene 2. Lisette, Damon.
Your servant, Herr Damon. You seem to be looking for somebody. Who is it?
Leander was to meet me here. Have not you seen him?
No. But must you go away again immediately on this account? Stay a moment. Does the time already seem long to you, because he cannot come immediately and prattle to you his sweet dreams of friendship? If you have only come to hear pleasing fibs and enrapturing thoughts from your friend, stay here. I will give you them as well as he. Truly, since you and Herr Leander have met here, the very walls resound with the praise of friendship. I must surely have retained a little of it.
These railleries are at my friend's expense. They must necessarily be offensive to me. Be silent, if you please.
Ay, the deuce might be silent under such circumstances. Just consider for yourself. You are in the house of a young amiable widow. You love her, you seek a return of your love. But, dear me, in what a peculiar way! A friend intimidates you in your courtship. You will not offend him. Your love is much too weak to endure his groundless reproaches. You prefer to neglect your lover rather than your friend. Very well, that might pass, if only the other one was not just as whimsical a fellow.
Our conduct cannot in any way appear strange to your mistress. She is aware of the affection of both of us. We both declared ourselves to her before we knew we had declared the same thing. We endeavoured to be sincere friends. Would it not therefore be unjust if, with impatient solicitation, I wished to rob Leander, or Leander to rob me of a heart, which may perhaps in time surrender itself to one of us from affection?
From affection? As if a woman had not equal affection for every well-favoured man. For instance, what would I care whether I got you or Herr Leander? Do not take it amiss that for once I indulge my pride in such sweet dreams. You and Herr Leander are of healthy constitution, robust and cheerful. One cannot go wrong in the choice between two equally good things. Take the first that comes.
You judge your mistress by yourself, and certainly you do not do her much honour by it. I know her too well. She has nobler ideas of love.
Ah, do not take it ill of me. Love is love. A queen does not love better than a beggar, or a philosopher more nobly than a stupid peasant. And I and my mistress certainly would not differ a hair's breadth in the important part of love.
Good morning. I have neither inclination nor time at present to refute your groundless talk. Should Herr Leander come, beg him, please, to wait a moment. I have first a little business to transact. I shall be back directly.
Bother it. Just wait another moment. You call my talk groundless. Well then, just listen, and I'll tell you something. Perhaps it will seem a little better grounded to you then.
Well, I shall have to hear something extraordinary then.
Do you know what my mistress has decided to do? She is going to wait until the 2 ships have come back in which you have placed your fortunes, and she will marry the one straight off who has been most successful in the business. Do you believe now that it will be all the same to my mistress whether she gets you or Herr Leander, eh?
What? Your mistress has decided to do that? Go and tell your tale to someone else.
Well, why does that seem so improbable to you? Is it so wicked that one rather marries a rich man than a poor one? You foolish men would sooner count your buttons, I suppose, when you cannot make up your mind. And yet I should think she has acted 10 times more wisely in leaving it to fate to turn the scale and settle her feelings for her.
Heavens, how unhappy I am, if you speak the truth. Could I ever have imagined that riches had such charms for her? Do they alone make us precious? Does she not find anything in Leander or myself which could counterbalance this dazzling trifle? I could almost repent of loving a person who so basely—
Come, come, gently, gently. Not so much abuse. Did you expect something better? The money itself is not exactly what she desires in you. The feelings of my mistress towards you and Herr Leander are equally balanced at present, and the money is only to be a little addition which will give the advantage to one scale or the other. Oh, grasping we are not. Do not say that of us, mind. Although, after all, it would be no shame for us if we were so. Why, you show her plainly enough, by not having spoken to her again for a long time of your love, that it would be all the same to you if she declared herself for you or for your friend, and Leander has done the same. So how could she act more judiciously?
Alas, that I am so enamoured of her, and that I am so conscientious in friendship.
Would you have been better pleased if my mistress had let you cast lots for her, the one with the most or the fewest points to have had her for his wife? This is a very praiseworthy custom among soldiers, when, of the two culprits who are to be hanged, his life is to be granted to one, and each of them deserves it as little as the other. Yes, she ought to have followed this fashion here too, I suppose, oughtn't she?
Your railleries are very much out of place. My heart is, but I will go. Lisette, Lisette, how uneasy you have made me. Good heavens!
Scene 3. Lisette.
Well, he has a flea in his ear now, but what does it profit me? I can understand him as little now as before. If only I could have got him at least so far as to come out with his love declarations again. But really words are thrown away on him. He was on needles and pins. Hush, here comes Leander. Let me see what can be done with him.
Scene 4. Lisette, Leander.
A little sooner and you would have met him.
Really? Has Damon been here already?
Yes, and he will be back again immediately. You are to wait a little. But how cross you look today for once, Herr Leander. That face does not become a suitor at all. For shame, be lively now, and nice and merry.
He who has as much cause for vexation as I?
Bah, don't tell me that. You have a great deal on your heart to trouble you, I dare say. I can almost guess too what it is. Ah, love torments you. Are you tired at last of ranking friendship above it? That would only be what is right. Courage! Never mind a friend. Make my mistress another offer. I give you my word you will get her. But if you go on dallying any longer, I will not answer for anything. My mistress cannot choose. She has resigned all to blind chance. Unless one of you comes soon to take her, she means to give her heart, hand, and fortune to the one who is most fortunate in the business with the East Indies. What is the matter with you? What is the matter?
Lisette, for heaven's sake, to the one who is most successful? Now my misery is complete.
Complete? What does that mean? Explain yourself.
Well, I will confide in you. Know then that only last night I received news that my ship was wrecked in a storm. Cruel fate! Was it then not enough to rob me of my fortune? Must you also tear away from me the object of my so tender love?
The other abused my mistress, and he abuses fate, and both after all are innocent. Herr Leander, your misfortune touches me. I can well believe that it must cause one enough vexation to lose one's fortune. I have not yet gone through this painful experience, for heaven be thanked, I have not got a fortune. But if the vexation at losing riches is as great as the desire of gaining them, then it must be insupportable. I confess it. But to come to the other point, the object of your tender love, I presume you mean my mistress, don't you? Listen now. This loss you have brought on yourself, but if you will obey me, Herr Leander, she may not be quite lost yet, however it may seem to be.
Speak openly, pray. I will obey you in everything which can be of use to me.
But I doubt if you will do it.
Do not doubt, I beg you.
I know your obstinacy only too well. You are too much taken up with your lofty notions of friendship. Damon, your dearest friend in the world, the most precious gift of heaven, without which all things, all honour, all pleasure, seem but despicable to you, but vain and tasteless. Damon, your second self, whose happiness is your happiness, whose misfortune is your misfortune. Damon, the noble Damon, the...
Yes, quite so, Lisette. You will never be able to praise him sufficiently. He is the only one who will help me to bear my misfortune. I have always had the best opinion of him, and the tenderest feelings towards him. I doubt not he will now show how worthy he is of my friendship. Had he lost his fortune, mine would have been his. I should refuse for his sake the hand of the most lovable being, Damon. Yes, Damon, had he my heart. But I know the true tenderness of friendship he never has been quite able to feel properly.
Yes, Herr Leander, if you wish to be happy, you must forget this Damon for a time. Do not start at this proposition.
How do you mean that?
Well, I see that you demand my explanation with a tolerably composed face. Do not be afraid. I recommend no treason against your friend. Neither will he nor you yourself have cause to reproach you for anything. To be brief, go to my mistress, make her a straightforward offer, assure her that Damon does not love her any more. If necessary, add a few fibs, which will make him more hateful to her. You will see all will go well.
But suppose, now, she persists in waiting to see who will be the most successful in this affair. Nothing will help me then.
Lisette, aside.
Is that the steadfast friend? Can he be talked over so easily?
Aloud.
She will hardly insist upon that, Herr Leander. But suppose, even she did, it won't do any harm to us. And I'll tell you something. I know that you and Herr Damon have several times been inclined to exchange your capitals. They are of equal value. I should think you might try to persuade Herr Damon to do it still. He does not know yet, I suppose, that your ship is said to have foundered.
No.
Well, that will do very well. Try to get his capital and resign yours to him with all the profits. You can easily do that, and you will easily be able to hit upon a plausible pretext. Suppose you said to him, "Dearest Damon, friendship has united us sufficiently closely. How would it be, however, if we employed our worldly possessions also to unite ourselves even more firmly? Let us therefore make an exchange of the said capitals which we have put in the East Indian affair. Should yours have yielded more interest than mine, I should have to thank you for a part of my fortune. If mine should have increased more, I shall have the pleasure of seeing in your hands that which good luck had in reality destined for me. And shall we not by this means be all the more bound to assist one another with our fortunes in any case of necessity which may occur?"
Your advice is good, and also the pretext seems plausible enough, but I fear that my friend might entertain a suspicion of me. On this account I should not like to make this proposal myself. Could you not perhaps suggest this idea to your mistress? If she appeared to like it, then...
I understand you. Rely upon me, and make haste to go to my mistress.
Directly I have spoken with my friend. God is my witness that my intentions throughout are honest. I know for certain that my friend could not be sufficiently magnanimous to fulfil the duties towards me, which in the case of the loss of my fortune our friendship would impose upon him. I will free him, therefore, from the shame of being called an unfaithful friend by posterity, but, on my side, I will show him that my words agree entirely with my deeds. He shall have the half of my fortune.
Considering that the whole belongs to him by right, that is a sincere friend.
I will do everything to help him on again. Perhaps another time he may be successful. Perhaps...
Hush, hush! Herr Damon is coming back. I will go. He might think we had who knows what to talk about together. I will go to my mistress. Follow me soon.
Aside.
Well, that I am sure I should not have expected.
Scene 5. Leander, Damon.
So I must not say anything to him about my misfortune, which, however, is just what I asked him to come here for. What then shall I have to say to him? Never mind, something will turn up.
Oh, my dearest Leander, forgive me that I have kept you waiting.
I forgive you? How have you offended me? Do lay aside once for all, dearest friend, this misconception so detrimental to me that you are able to offend me. One friend is never angry with another. The common herd, to whom the sweet union of souls is unknown, and to their irreparable loss will eternally remain unknown, the common herd, the disgrace of the human race, may quarrel among themselves. Friendship arms a noble soul with an insurmountable moderation. What its friend does, what comes from its friend, is right and pleasing to it. Offences only become offences through the evil designs of him who offends, and the sensitiveness of him who is offended. Where, therefore, no one has evil designs, and no one is sensitive, there exists no offences. And does one friend then foster evil designs against another? Or will one friend then become sensitive about another? No. Therefore, dearest Damon, even if through you the greatest disgrace should befall me, if through you I should lose honour and repute, if through you I should lose property and money, if through you I should become sick, lame, blind, and deaf, if you should deprive me of father and mother, if you even took my life, do you believe, dearest Damon, that you would have offended me? No, however much you might be wrong, you would none the less be right to me. Even should the whole world condemn you, I should exculpate you, I should acquit you.
I should like, Leander, to be able to answer you with equal ardour. I will endeavour never to put your friendship to so severe a test.
Eh, dearest friend, why so cold? Do you doubt the sincerity of my words? Do you doubt that my friendship would stand this test? Would to heaven, yes, would to heaven that you would offend me, the sooner the better, in a manner which to another would be unpardonable. How pleased, how delighted would I be to practise on you the sweet revenge of magnanimous forgiveness.
And I will wish, on the contrary, that I may never have need of this magnanimous forgiveness.
Yes, Damon, and I shall also expect the same from you in a similar case. Oh, I know you too well. Your heart is noble and generous. It does not permit me to doubt.
You credit me with too much, most valued Leander. I confess to you, full of shame, that I find myself too weak for that. The ideas seem true and noble to me, but their accomplishment impossible. I tremble already in anticipation at the thought that my friendship may perhaps some day have to bear such a severe test. Your virtue, however, is my security, and is a friend really constrained to use such an all too magnanimous moderation? I know it is the duty of a friend to forgive another, but it is also the duty of the other to give him as little occasion for it as possible.
My friend, in forgiving we must resemble heaven. Our trespasses, however great and frequent they are, do not weary it in this its worthy employment. Him whom one has once chosen for one's friend, one must retain. Neither his faults nor his offences must be able to banish him from our favour. He disgraces himself who lets it come to this. Or is it then no disgrace to have to confess with shame that one has been grossly mistaken in one's choice?
But, dearest Leander, tell me why you desire to speak to me. What is the important news which you have to disclose to me?
Do my words become tedious to you? I cannot believe it. You know how one likes to speak of things which are pleasant to one, and I know one also likes equally well to hear of them. But you do not seem to be quite in the mood for either to-day. What troubles you? Has any misfortune befallen you? Reveal it to me. Give me the pleasure of sharing your grief with you. You shall then hear what I have to tell you.
You are not mistaken. I am perplexed and grieved.
And at what? Oh, why do you hesitate to confide your secret to me? Do you distrust my discretion? Do you doubt that I shall help you, if it is in my power? Or do you doubt my sympathy? Whenever I can pour out my heart to you, half of my grief vanishes immediately. Only try it. Perhaps I am so fortunate that you may also find some relief in my confidence.
It concerns you and me.
And so much the more reason to speak it out. Or must you keep it secret? Oh, what one has told only to one's friend, one has told to no one. My friend and I are one. And if I had taken the most solemn oath never to breathe a word to any one of this or that, I might yet, without breaking my oath, relate it to my friend. What I confide to him, I confide to myself, and I do nothing more than repeat it once again to myself in thought.
No, no, I shall not be concealed from you. Can you imagine what Madame has resolved to do?
What?
Well, just guess on what she will make the choice between us two rest.
It was just this, my Damon, just this that I too had to tell you.
To speak candidly, I am astounded at this base resolution. No, Leander, rather than owe her hand to such a shameful cause, I will renounce her for ever.
And do you believe, then, that I should accept her? We have the most disinterested intentions with respect to her. We should love her even if she possessed nothing whatever. And she is so self-interested. Is despicable wealth the only thing which pleases her in us?
What if we tried to foil this resolution in every possible way? May I propose something to you? What do you think if we shared the gain and loss in this affair?
Leander, aside.
Hist! That is grist for my mill. The exchange would then be necessary.
Aloud?
Yes, you are right. Nothing could more easily bring her back to the right course. To choose between us for love's and merit's sake, I agree to it.
Oh, how happy you make me again by your approval! I feared all the time, I feared you might withhold it from me in this matter, and you would have had a right to do so.
How little you give me credit for! Indeed, what right could I possibly have not to be at one with you in this? Why, all things are common between friends. What is mine is yours, and I consider that I too have a little claim upon what is yours. Away with selfishness, even though by this fate should be so unfavourable to you that you should lose all. Not the half of my fortune, but the whole would be as good as yours at any time.
Friend, you make me quite ashamed.
What I say I should also do, and if I had done it, I should not, after all, have done anything more than what the duty of a friend demands.
But I do not understand what hidden feeling within me makes me doubt the very truth of her resolution. Could Lisette, after all?
I too have it from her. Yet we shall find that out. It is of no little importance to us both. Will you excuse me? I will go myself to our beloved and inquire.
But, Leander, how will that do? Will she not be hurt by this inquisitiveness?
Do not fear. I shall know how to introduce the subject in such a way that—
Very well. I rely on your skill. Come back soon and bring me word.
Leander, aside.
Well, that is a good pretext for getting away from him.
Scene 6. Damon.
Either I am quite unadapted for friendship, or Leander has very extravagant ideas about it. I should be unhappy if the former were true. Yes, friendship is certainly that which must primarily make life agreeable to us. So much I feel, but so much as my friend says he feels I do not feel. Suppose he offended me. He offended me in such manner as he wished me to offend him. Should I? No, I will not flatter myself. I should be much too weak to forgive him. Yes, I should take it in bad part if he should pardon me on such an occasion. I should even blame him, yet I do not think him even capable of it either. Let him be what he will, but perhaps I am mistaken. I judge him by myself. Does it follow then, because I am so weak, that another, but certainly such a perfect friendship is not for this world? I wonder whether Leander really thinks as he speaks. Stop, I will. Yes, suppose I told him that I had received news that my vessel was wrecked, then I shall see whether his generosity, it would be rather a joke if I saw him perplexed. But no, that was a mean thought. To put one's friend to a test is to wish to lose one's friend. No, but suppose the widow held to her foolish resolution. Suppose Leander became happy through her. Shall I be able to remain his friend? I tremble. Yes, I feel my weakness. I should be angry with him. I should grow envious. Ah, I'm truly ashamed of myself.
Scene 7. Oronte. Damon.
Well, there you are. D'ye see? Cousin, I have had to look for you in 10 different houses. D'ye see? I should have expected to find you anywhere sooner than at the young widow's.
What the deuce brings you here, cousin?
Well, can't you tell what I want? D'ye see? Make yourself ready to hear some news which will half kill you. D'ye see? And if you still have a little reason left, d'ye see, will drive you mad.
You frighten me. What is it, then?
Did I not tell you, d'ye see, that you would have bad luck with your capital? D'ye see? See there, read that. Your ship is wrecked. There, just read that, d'ye see. You will find all particulars, d'ye see.
Really?
Well, didn't I tell you before, d'ye see? But you young fellows never let yourself be told, d'ye see. You want to know everything best. All right, d'ye see, all right.
I should not have expected this misfortune.
Is that all one can say, d'ye see, when one loses one's fortune? Oh, carelessness. Oh, iniquitous carelessness, d'ye see? Up to 12,000 thalers, d'ye see, 12,000 thalers. Well, cousin, say what you will do now, d'ye see. You are forsaken by the whole world, and rightly, d'ye see. Can you deny that I told you so beforehand? Can you deny it, d'ye see? How many times have I given you the golden rule? What gets into water is as good as half lost, d'ye see?
Ah, let the money go where it likes, if only...
Ah, never mind the money. Sensible talk that, d'ye see? Damon, a man who can think like that is not worthy to be my cousin, d'ye see? Ah, never mind the money. No, heaven be thanked, d'ye see. I never was so foolish and God-forsaken in my youth. Do you think, d'ye see, that the young widow will marry you now? D'ye see? She would have to be a stupid. D'ye see?
Yes, cousin, this is my fear, and this is also the only thing which makes my misfortune painful to me.
The fool, d'ye see? As if it were not painful enough without it, d'ye see? Yet, cousin, that you may see, d'ye see, how well disposed I am towards you, d'ye see? I will advise you under the circumstances. Announce your bankruptcy.
What such a mean...
What mean? D'ye see? You call it mean, d'ye see, to be a bankrupt? The deuce, d'ye see, have I not been bankrupt 5 times? And have I been mean, d'ye see? Haven't I got all my money from the bankruptcy, d'ye see? My wife caused my first failure, d'ye see? She was a proud, extravagant fool. May heaven bless her, d'ye see? But may heaven also reward her, for no doubt she is there, d'ye see, as she always liked to be where there were gay and grand doings, d'ye see. May heaven reward her, I say, d'ye see, that she has helped me to such a short road to wealth, d'ye see. Do you think, cousin, I should have stopped with 5 failures if I had not been expressly forbidden, d'ye see, to begin business again, d'ye see?
No, cousin, I cannot flatter you at all. The wealth so basely acquired brings you little honour.
Honour, d'ye see, honour is the question. Many a one, d'ye see, must starve in spite of all his honour. Honour. What a fanciful fellow you are, d'ye see. I suppose it will be all the same with my heirs, d'ye see, whether I had my money with honour or without honour, d'ye see. They will be grateful to me even if I had stolen it, d'ye see.
No, cousin, if your heirs are sensible, they will employ their inheritance after your death to restore their fortunes to those who have been rendered unhappy by your failures.
What, d'ye see? My heirs are to do that? Well, if I thought that, certainly, d'ye see, certainly I would sooner have everything I possess put into my grave with me. Shall I have toiled and moiled for nothing? 5 times I have had to swear. Should I have sworn 5 times for nothing? D'ye see? Well, listen, cousin, as I see that you would act so contrary to right and duty, d'ye see, I will just omit you from my will, d'ye see. Then you may see after all what one does when one has nothing, d'ye see.
Heaven will then provide for me.
Who, d'ye see? Who will provide for you? Heaven? Yes, comfort yourself, yes, heaven will provide for you, as for the sparrows in winter. Heaven wants us, d'ye see, just to look after ourselves. For this reason it has given us wit and intelligence, d'ye see.
Yes, and wickedness and avarice also, to many a one, in case wit and intelligence should not be sufficient.
Cousin, is that meant for me, d'ye see? Don't you be so impertinent. I know what you are reckoning on now, d'ye see. You think now you will make a good match. But I will snatch the lamb from the wolf yet, d'ye see. Leander has now the right to it. His ship has arrived safely, although they had written him at first, d'ye see, that it had been lost. It is, however, nothing but a mistake, d'ye see. Yours is gone to the deuce, d'ye see.
What? They had written that to Leander, and he said nothing to me.
Must one stick everything under your nose, then, d'ye see? Well, you will find out what harm your misfortune will do you, in spite of your honour and heaven. I am going myself to the widow now. She shall hear everything. D'ye see? Goodbye. D'ye see?
Scene 8. Damon.
Vexatious news. I lose my fortune. That might pass. Who knows, had Leander been unlucky, whether I might have been sufficiently generous to help him? What a disgrace for me, if I had proved false to him! Heaven has wished to guard me against that. I am fortunate in all my misfortune, but I lose the amiable widow at the same time. She will give herself now to Leander without any scruple. To Leander! But then Leander is my friend. Love, that confounded love! Does not my friend deserve her just as much as I do? Why should I care much for a woman whose heart, if even I had got it, I should only have got for the sake of my money? And yet she is amiable. How I have to struggle with myself! But Leander, could it be true that he received this false news? And could he have withheld it from me? How could he have accepted the proposal which I made him? Most strange thoughts arise in me, but away with them. They disgrace my friend.
Scene 9. Lisette, Damon.
So lonely and so sorrowful.
Alas, Lisette, to lighten my grief I must tell it to the first person I meet, whoever it is. I've been unfortunate. My ship has been lost in a storm. I have the most certain information. Heavens! And at the same time I lose all hope of your mistress.
What? Wasn't Leander's misfortune enough?
How? Leander's? His ship has arrived safely, you know. What other misfortune has happened to him?
Yes, his ship has come in as nicely as yours. He told me so himself just now.
Told you so himself? My suspicion is then, after all, not without grounds. In spite of it, Lisette, you can believe me that was merely an error about his ship. But could my friend have committed a false act towards me, I wonder?
False? How false? Heaven forbid. Leander is the truest friend in the world. Ha ha ha.
Why do you laugh?
Yes, that is certain. You can rely on his fidelity now. Ha ha ha. He will stand by you honestly. Ha ha ha.
I certainly hope so, too.
And I too. Ha ha ha. I know his good intentions. Ha ha ha.
Scene 10. Oronte, the widow, Leander, Damon, Lisette.
Dearest Damon, I have heard the sad tidings from your cousin. I assure you your misfortune could not have touched me more if it had happened to myself.
My dearest friend, fortune has been adverse to you. I know your mind is too composed to be troubled greatly by this transitory loss. I hope also that you will be easily reconciled to fortune. It may restore to you more richly, at some future time, that of what it has deprived you now.
Yes, cousin, d'ye see? Some future time. Ha ha ha.
You, madame, have had the kindness to declare yourself for the most fortunate of us too. Heaven willed that I should be the one, but I shall only consider myself in reality to be such when, through the precious gift of your heart—
And can you repeat this offer, Leander, in the presence of your friend?
Just heaven, what do I hear?
Oh, madam, I know my friend too well. He will not attempt to stand in the way of your happiness. He cannot offer you anything but his heart. I can accompany mine with a chest of gold.
Leander, you will— anger and astonishment deprive me of words.
Listen, cousin, I will just tell you something, d'ye see. You cannot marry the pretty widow now. That is pretty certain, d'ye see. She won't be of much use to Leander either, d'ye see. She pleases me well enough, d'ye see. I should not mind having her. I think you had better propose me to her, d'ye see. I am too timid for it, d'ye see. See to this. Do all that is in your power, and I promise I will not forget you in my will, d'ye see. I can bring her 2 chests of gold, d'ye see.
I implore you, madam, speak that my friend may know what he has to hope.
Madam, do not speak too quickly, d'ye see. My cousin knows a nice bridegroom for you, d'ye see, who might well suit you. You can get 2 chests of gold with him, d'ye see. Cousin, tell her, do.
That will be unnecessary. My resolution is already taken. It is true, Leander, that I have said I would choose the most fortunate of you. I will keep my word. You, dearest Damon, are the most fortunate.
I?
Damon?
What? What do you say? My cousin? Dear me, why? It is his ship that has been lost, madam, d'ye see. Leander has 1 chest of gold, d'ye see, and I have 2, d'ye see. Consequently, you must mean me.
Yes, Damon, you have been the most fortunate in this affair. You have been fortunate in finding an opportunity to show your noble mind in such an exceptional manner. But your greatest good fortune is that you have now received light to perceive the falseness of your friend, whose pompous gibberish has dazed you hitherto. Leander, consider your conduct. You had received the tidings that your ship was lost. In your anxiety you sought relief from me. You disregarded your friend in a shameful manner. My resolution to declare myself for the most fortunate was only disagreeable to you, in as far as you feared that you would not be the one. You tried to persuade me that Damon loved me no longer. And lastly, think of the exchange to which I was to tempt Damon at a time when you thought that his affairs stood better than yours. Consider all this, and be ashamed to have deceived a friend who esteemed you above everything. Go, enjoy your wealth, which could really have fallen to no unworthier man.
Leander, am I to believe it? You wish to deceive me?
Damon, I have wronged you. Farewell.
Leander, dearest Leander, where are you going? Stay.
Let me go, I beg you. I must flee from your presence. I die with shame. It is impossible. You cannot forgive me.
I not forgive you, Leander? Would that my forgiveness were anything to you. Yes, yes, all is forgiven you already. Remain here, my friend. You have been rash, but the man, not the friend, has committed this rashness. Madam, you are angry with Leander. I refuse all, if with me you do not forget everything. If you separate us, I shall necessarily be the most unhappy. I know how difficult it is to find a friend, and if for the first offence one will forsake him, one will seek a lifetime for one in vain.
Damon, judge from these tears whether I am moved.
Well, Leander, Damon forgives you, and I myself do not know whether I am more moved by his generosity or your repentance. Let us also begin our friendship anew. Oh, Damon, how tender will your love be, since your friendship is so tender?
So my wooing was no good after all.
Confess at least, dear Leander, that it is a little more difficult to practise the duties of friendship than to rhapsodize about it.
Yes, Damon, I have often spoken of friendship, but only today have I learnt from you what it is.
Damon, I fear I shall become jealous. Not indeed on account of a woman, but of Leander.
End of Damon, or True Friendship, by G. E. Lessing.